drummer should really try to be the first one there for the session.
When we mic drums, we're going to set up a lot of mics.
You know, for all the other musicians, it might take 2 or 3 mics. For drummers, it might take 15 or 16. It just takes a lot longer.
Generally around 2 hours to get them set up and get good sounds out of your drums.
If you're doing a longer project, we're going to spend more time because we're going to try to make sure the sounds are really good. So we might even spend as much as 4 or 5 hours.
We'll put a lot of mics up and we'll try to get the best sound from each drum that we can.
If you have a lot of drums, it's going to take longer, obviously, to get sounds than it is if you just have a few drums. Also, if your drums are better quality and they already sound good, it's going to take us less time to dial them in. And there's different things you can do to get good drum sounds in the studio that are completely different from what you're going to do live.
So if anyone's going to be late for the session, try not to let that be the drummer.
Most important thing you need to do is make sure your drums sound amazing.
Stuff like make sure none of your lugs rattle.
Having good drums.
Your kick drum pedal, if it's squeaky, lubricate it.
Having good drum heads that are professionally tuned and knowing how to play them really well also.
It's costing you money and you don't want to pay your money for me to lubricate your drum pedal.
Besides vocals, drums are one of the most crucial things we're going to record. If you got bad drum sounds, the whole thing is going to basically sound bad. If your drums sound like crap and they have squeaky things and your cymbals are cracked, please borrow some drums. Borrow a set.
When you come into Jupiter to record drums, make sure that you've got new heads on your drums.
Please, whatever you do, get new drum heads. Make sure they're good quality ones. If you don't know how to tune your heads really professionally, you either get somebody or take it to a music store such as Drum Headquarters or something, especially the tops, kick and everything, and get it all tweaked out, and you're even going to retune and retweak when you get to the studio.
If you don't, they're not going to sound good, and we want them to sound as good as they can.
If you got a big project, you're going to spend 100 hours on your CD, you might want to get 2 or 3 snares that we can choose from for different songs. Give us some options and have new heads on all the snares. Even though it's expensive, you will save so much money in the mix. A new drum set that sounds good and is played well can just basically almost mix itself.
When you record at Jupiter, we encourage you to record with a click track.
It always makes things easier for everyone in the band if the drummer can play to a click track.
And you'll hear a click in your ear, and you just play along with that when you're playing the drums, and also for the scratch guitar tracks and things like that.
Whenever you get to the mixing stage, it's going to make editing a lot easier.
And that helps us put everything on a grid. Once your audio is on a grid, once your drums are on a grid, we can go back and edit them if there's any mistakes. It's a lot easier to punch in. Also, it helps if you know the tempo of your songs when you want them to be when you come in. Saves time from having to sit down and figure it out, and that would be in beats per minute.
The click track decides the beats per minute to a song. It just dictates how fast you're going and make sure you stay on tempo.
If you want to practice to a click, get a metronome, get something you can listen to during practice.
Okay, let's look at the screen and just actually show you in the studio how the click works. Okay, here's an example of a song that was actually recorded to a click. As you can hear, it's kind of annoying, but it's something to keep you on tempo. Okay, so here's the drums we recorded right here. Kick, snare, let me start playing the tracks with the click. Here's our kick track, snare. As these lights go on, those are the tracks that you're hearing. So what it allows us to do, for one thing, is zero in and see if the click. That blue line is supposed to be where he plays. That's where he played. That's close enough. That gives us all sorts of editing options. For instance, we can copy and paste drums. We'll go over more of that in the editing section.